everyone? This is Elton John reporting live on this random balcony, welcoming you to the Antisocial Socialite. That was probably the wackest British accent I've ever done, but you know why. Elton is here in the flesh today. My beautiful, my hair's sticking to my lips, my beautiful Gucci glasses. I introduced them to you back around Thanksgiving when I got them, and I thought I fucking lost them. But me being way too organized, I put them in a safe place, knowing that I'd be moving, didn't want to lose them, and I thought I lost them. And I've been ripping the house apart, and finally found them in my car, in an eyeglass case where I purposely put them to keep them safe. So I'm so happy, but I figured I would wear them because I'm outside today. The egg chair is outside today. We have made our way out here because it is the beginning of spring. It is beautiful out. You can hear the birds chirping. You can also hear the cars driving by because there is a main road right here. But it's so beautiful out, so I figured, fuck it, we're going outside today. But we talked last week about COVID celebrating its 1-year anniversary here in the US. But we have a few COVID stories I want to go over, even though you know I hate to talk about it. But the founder and CEO of the Texas Roadhouse, Kent Taylor, reportedly committed suicide because of COVID symptoms and tinnitus. So his family had confirmed the reports. He was only 65 years old, and I guess he was so beloved by all of the people that worked for the Texas Roadhouse. Shout out to their cinnamon butter, so bomb. If that was his creation, I owe him my life. But no, it was just really sad that, you know, he felt like he needed to end his life over complications, so it must have been really serious to that. And, you know, I wish him all the best in where he is in this new place in the universe. You know, so sad, but also March Madness was hit with a little bit of COVID madness, where Virginia Commonwealth University actually had to forfeit their game against Oregon because there were multiple reports of COVID cases on their team. So I guess the coach had said that they got tested every single day for 3 weeks. All was right in the world. They're in their little COVID bubble. They're great. And then 48 hours before their game, there was like multiple reports from the players that they tested positive. And you know how much these kids really practice and get ready for, you know, this spotlight of being part of March Madness. For it to just go away so quickly is so devastating. I feel bad for those kids. And then there's another kid that's on Ohio State that literally has been getting death threats because he missed a free throw and lost the game. If you are threatening a college student for missing one basket that you probably couldn't make yourself on your best day, you need to go home, go to your room, really analyze your life and figure out what the hell your problem is. How are you gonna literally threaten this poor kid's life because he missed a basket? I know it fucked up a ton of people's brackets, but like, maybe you shouldn't gamble then, if that's why you're so damn upset. I think that's why you're upset. Your anger is being displaced on this boy because you didn't correctly fill out your bracket. And anybody who's anybody knows you have multiple brackets. I hate everyone. And speaking of hating everybody, I hate the people that are in Miami right now. Like, hate them a lot. They are going so crazy down there right now. The mayor tried imposing an 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. People are disregarding it. People are getting mad ratchet down there, twerking in the streets, dining and dashing, partying without masks, ignoring the curfew. I get it, you're on vacation, but like, this is not the time to like turn up like that. Some dude I saw in the shade room literally was dining and dashing. So he decided to have a great meal but not pay his bill, and he started running down the street, and 2 waiters from the restaurant actually ran after him and tackled him to the ground a couple of times and dragged him back to the restaurant so he would have to pay his bill. And then like literally you pan left, this is all in the same interaction, right? You pan left and there's like dozens of people blocking an intersection just twerking in the street. Why? Because the clubs aren't open? Maybe they probably are open in Florida, but like, why do that? Then there was another girl, and Cardi B was like, listen, I'm not getting blamed for this shit, because they were playing her newest song, Up, as this girl is literally like laying spread eagle on the hood of a car driving down the street while like thinking she's funny. And then I guess the car stopped, and apparently her baby daddy was walking down the street and like grabbed her off that hood so quickly and like dragged her off. Like, I don't know, people like, they definitely do it for social media and they think they're like so cool, but y'all are lame. Like, just have a normal party. Maybe you don't know how to party because it's been a year and you've been stuck in the house and you're like, oh, where are my manners and my common sense? I don't know. I mean, would I twerk in the street at any given time? Yeah. Would I need dozens of people around me at any given time? No. I'm a one-man show. I do this shit by myself. Twerk Nation. And then some other random, like, little white kid had got arrested on the beach, right? And he jumped out of the MF cop car, handcuffed, and started running down the beach. I'm like, I can't run down the beach on my best day with that sand. That shit tires me out. And like, yeah, I would be like out of breath after like, 15 feet. I don't know how that kid did it. Probably because he's a college student and in shape. But like, what? I don't know. Miami's a whole different breed. But I guess, so the curfew is set in place for South Beach. But in Miami Beach, restaurants, shops, all of that are open later, like their regularly scheduled times for residents and for visitors. So I guess, Miami Beach is not getting hit as hard as South Beach, but come on, people, because you know what's going to happen? They're going to go back home and they're going to spread this shit back all over, and we're going to have a spike again. I don't know. I hate everyone, but y'all know that. But anyway, enough about like the negative talk and me shit talking and bringing sad news. We're gonna, have a happier note to this. So today, my special guest is from Texas. He is a musician that has recently dabbled in acting, and I'm so excited to have had the chance to sit down and chat with him. So Ricky Versetti is, like exactly what I just said, a musician. So I want you to hear all about him in my interview. Again, you guys know we're on season 3, so you should know by now. But I post clips of my interview within the show, so it's not like a fucking 90-minute saga. But then I post the full interview, and I really encourage you guys to like go watch the whole interview, because he had some really amazing things to speak about. His story, I just love his story, from literally his upbringing and how it got him to where he is now and all the successes that he's had along the way. Super dope human. So I encourage you guys to do that. Don't forget about my contest that's still going. You guys have another, week left to the day to subscribe to me. I just want to get to 85 subscribers. It's super simple. Antisocialite Katie. That's my Instagram name and my YouTube name. Go subscribe to me. Yeah, go do that. Oh my God, my floor is shaking. Why is it that when you put do not disturb on your phone calls still keep coming in? Rude. Don't they know? Oh, I'm recording to be a YouTube sensation. Anyway, let's just cut all the lameness out. We're gonna get to my interview with Ricky. Please enjoy, and I will see you afterwards. All right, so we're approaching the end of March, and you know what that means? Yes! It's Sarah Jessica Parker's birthday on March 25th. And it's Lady Gaga's birthday on March 28th. And those are like my ultimate idols. I mean, who else? Come on, the bling, everything that I owe to my fashion choices are because of those two lovely ladies. So I'm going to tell you, this week's Antisocial Circle members are SJP and Gaga. That's it. I owe them my life. So happy birthday, ladies. You'll probably never see this, but I owe you everything. Hey, my antisocial butterflies. Today with me, I have Ricky Versetti. What's up, man? How are you?
What's going on?
This is it, man. I'm so excited to have a chance to sit down and talk with you. So thank you for joining my platform. I appreciate it.
Likewise. I have a question for you before anything.
Yes.
What's it like over there on your side of the world?
Well, it's great. Yesterday was the first day of spring, and Boston actually showed up and showed out because it was 60 degrees today, something like that. And I went out just for a drive to be like, oh, fuck it. I need some good weather. I mean, it gets so crazy because everybody's been locked in. Everybody goes out in the city during the day. So it's crazy. So I just wanted to drive around because, like I just told you, I'm the antisocial socialite. I want to get out in public, but I don't want to talk to anybody. So I was like, I'll just drive around for a little bit. But it was beautiful. So I'm so excited. But are you back in Texas right now?
Yes, I actually just got back a few days ago.
Okay.
And I've been settling in. Like we were speaking a little earlier, we've doing a little remodeling in the house. So I kind of came back to that. I've been on the road, came back, and I got to keep working here now with home things until it's time to get back out there and do other things.
Good. So your side of the world is treating you nicely. And of course, I think you're based in San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yes, so you, of course, have nice weather, all the time.
It's so bipolar. San Antonio could go literally from 70, 80 degree weather one day to, I don't know if you heard recently, we had this crisis because we had snowpocalypse happen. Yes. And, 3 days prior to snowpocalypse, it's 70 degrees outside. And 2 days after snowpocalypse, it was back to 70 and sunny. So yeah, it can get pretty, you got to have shorts on and a sweater on at the same time.
Yes. That's how we are here. I mean, it was just snowing a couple days ago, and then you can be in your bathing suit the next day, and you're like, wow. I don't get it.
You guys get a lot of snow over there, right? Consistently.
We do. This year, definitely, there was more snow and colder days I felt than even last year. Last year was so mild. I don't think we got more than one snow day. I think that was it. So yeah, I mean, definitely climate change plays a huge part. But last Sunday it was super beautiful out, and then all of a sudden I turn out because I keep pointing because I have a balcony right here.
I keep looking.
But then all of a sudden I was like, shit, it's snowing. Where did this just come from? So it's crazy. But my friends in Fort Worth and Dallas were texting me during your snowpocalypse, and they're like, excuse me, Katie, take your drunk ass weather back home. Get this out. This is not Texas.
Yeah, we definitely were not ready for that.
Oh, it was the worst, but I'm glad that it's back to normal right now for you, and hopefully no impending snowstorms coming.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, let's get back to a regularly scheduled program.
Exactly. So I already kind of teased it that you live in San Antonio, but if you want to tell the viewers a little bit of backstory about you and who you are, because all I've done is said your name and where you're from. That's it. So tell everybody.
Currently, I live in San Antonio. This is where I reside. This is, I guess you could say, home base. But it's funny you mentioned Fort Worth because I'm actually from the Metroplex. So Fort Worth is, that's all in the same area. I have a lot of family in Fort Worth. Have a lot of family and friends in Dallas. So that's actually where I'm from. I'm from a little small town named Ennis, Texas, and it's about 20 miles south of Dallas. A lot has happened along the journey, but somehow I ended up moving to Mexico. And I actually lived on the border of Mexico for about 4 to 5 years. I went to school. I would cross every single day from Mexico into the States every single morning to go to school and then cross back to go home. So I've gotten to experience a lot of different, I guess you could say, cultures. Coming from the Dallas area, it's very diverse, a lot of different types of people. But when I went to the border, I'm Mexican. So when I went to the border, I thought it was going to be, a smooth transition, and I was very wrong. The people on the border were so much different, even though they were the same as me. They were so much different. So it was a big culture shock But I was able to adapt. Thing is, Eagle Pass, we moved to Eagle Pass and Piedras Negras, which is the border.
Okay.
There was really not much going on. It was pretty much in the middle of nowhere. The closest city in either direction was an hour, and
Wow.
San
Okay.
Antonio was 2 hours. So, there was not much going on out there. And I always was a kid with, I always had big dreams. Always. I remember being a kid and just wanting to do just big things, mainly with music. It was always music. I remember that I would always listen to music more than I would watch TV. So and to this day, it's the same thing. I'd rather be doing music or listening to music than watching TV. Although I do watch some TV, no, I don't. But that was my thing. Music has always been my thing, and I remember that I would listen to I would go to sleep at night with my headphones on, listening to Michael Jackson. He was a big influence in my music. Um, and I remember that I would be pretending that I was the one singing those songs in front of thousands of people. And I never really thought that that would actually one day come true. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. But I remember that, coming up and just thinking, having my little Walkman on and my headphones on and just going to sleep, listening to these songs, and just imagining that that was me. Uh, so with that in mind, living in the small town in the middle of nowhere was not going to work. So,
You're a city boy,
I'm a city
right?
boy. I'm a city boy that was never really born in the city, but it was just in my nature to be, in the city. So that's what I did. I left Eagle Pass and we moved to San Antonio. And in San Antonio is where everything really began with the music. I started to do a lot of open mics and start to associate myself with a lot of people, which is very important in the entertainment industry. Networking. You have to, it's about who you know. It's always going to be about who you know. I don't care if they tell you it's not, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
So, I started to associate myself in the scene and get out there with as many people as I could. And that just, it's been a long process, but, we've stuck with it and it's gotten us here.
But it's a worthwhile process for sure. I mean, because
Oh,
you're happy with what
absolutely.
you're doing. So, I mean, you're very
Absolutely.
passionate.
The thing with what I do is that it's a passion. Like I really love what I do to the point to where it doesn't matter if this wasn't my career, I would always still find a way to do music.
Yeah.
Even if I had to work a 9 to 5 at McDonald's or whatever, music will always was and will always be a part of my essence. So I love it. It's a passion. I'm going to do it regardless. Luckily and fortunately, I've been blessed enough to be able to do it, at the levels that I do it. So I feel like that's just come with the consistency and the persistence of, not taking no for an answer. Y'all are gonna hear me.
Yeah.
So here we
Whether
are.
you like it or not, you're
Yeah,
gonna
whether you
hear me.
like it or
Yeah.
not, you're gonna hear me.
Yeah.
So it's been a struggle though. It has been a long road, but for the most part, it's been hella worth it.
That's incredible. And I did read on your bio that you used to play the saxophone.
I did. I
Yeah.
did the tenor
That's
sax.
impressive. That is
Tenor
so,
sax.
I love it. Now, do you play any other instruments or is that like the only instrument that you know how to play?
So what happened with the tenor sax was, like I said, I was always so drawn to music. So when I got into school, and we got into, I believe it was junior high school. That was when you're able to join the band. I was really excited because I wanted to play an instrument. I wanted to play the saxophone, and you don't just sign up for band and say I want to play this instrument and you get it. Sometimes you end up playing something different that you didn't even want to play because that's just what's available.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to be able to play the saxophone. Um, the thing is, I was also an athlete. So I played sports. I loved sports. So being in junior high, I was in band and I played football. So whenever we go into high school, things change a little bit. Things get more serious with football. They take football very serious, and things get more serious with band, which mainly they start to march. So it becomes the marching band, the band marching during the varsity games and stuff like that. I kind of had to choose. They made me choose. You can't march and play football at the same time. Well, you can, but it's really hard because during the halftime show, you got to run out and march in your uniform, your football uniform. And I was just like, I'm not going to do all that shit. So
you're like, I need to breathe in between these plays and all this stuff. You're like,
I
can't be
think it had more
doable.
to do, it had more to do with the peer pressure, to be honest. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, it had to do a lot with the peer pressure because, back then, right now, bullying is a big thing. And, I never really got bullied. I can't really say I ever got bullied because I always fought back. So if you wanted to bully me, you had to be ready to fight back. And it was more like they would, kind of joke on me and pick on me. And they were like, you can't be playing football and being in band. It was more of a band nerd kind of thing. They would call me a band nerd. And I would still tell them I am a band nerd,
You
What are y'all going to
embraced
do about
it.
it? What are
Yeah.
y'all going to do about it? I'm a band nerd. Y'all not going to do nothing about it. But you couple that with the fact that, okay, now I have to make a choice. Should I march or should I play ball? And, I wanted to continue to play music, but I really didn't care for the marching. That is true. I really didn't care for the marching, but I did want to continue to learn to play music. But I made the decision. So it was like play ball or play music. And at that point, I played ball. So,
Yeah.
I played the saxophone up until I started playing varsity football. And then from there, I kind of just left it alone for a little bit. And then music kind of just not really faded away, but it was more of I wasn't really a singer. So I was like, well, I can't sing. I don't know how to play an instrument very, very well the way I should. What can I do? And kind of music just fell back a little bit. But there was this moment when I moved to Eagle Pass, in the middle of nowhere is where I actually found a true love for being an artist. One of my friends tells me that there's a guy who can go around freestyling. I don't know if you know what freestyling is in hip hop, you
Yep.
know?
I'm
So,
a big hip hop head. Even
oh,
though I
cool,
don't
cool.
look like it, I definitely am.
So he's like, man, there's this guy that freestyles. And I asked if you know, because at that point, I didn't know what freestyling was. So I was like, what is freestyle? And he's like, he's just gonna start rapping about, your shoes and what you got on, your hat, whatever it is that you got on. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like actually like rapping it and sounding good? He's like, yeah, man, he sounds real good. I'm like, nah, that shit's impossible. Nobody could do that shit. And he's like, no. Well, while he's telling me this, the guy happens to be walking by. And he's like, look, there he goes. And he calls him over. And sure enough, the dude comes over and starts freestyling. And I was just blown away by the fact that somebody could just, on a whim, start rapping, sounding so good with melody, with flow, with style and grace, and just be doing it off the top of your head. Like that was to me like, oh, wow, that's got to be a gift. Well, I realized that it's really not a gift. It's actually a learned behavior. You can learn to rap. You could really learn to rap. Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to be good at it, but you can learn to rap. People can learn to rap. Now, there's always going to be a certain grace or a certain finesse, or like we like to say, a little bit of swag that people might have. That's just natural. If you don't have that swag and you don't have that, that just little it factor, then that's a different story. But I actually learned and taught myself to rap because that was my end to music now. Anybody can rap. All I gotta do is make some words rhyme, make it sound really dope, and I might be able to do this.
Now, did you start rapping by actually writing your lyrics or just by freestyling? Because I mean, obviously you met this guy, but I could never freestyle if my life depended on, like, if you had a gun to my head and you're like, Katie, you have to freestyle like 3 bars to save your life. I'd be like, I don't know, just shoot me now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like I could write it down and then eventually learn it. But, what was your case? Like, how did you actually start rapping?
Well, when I was a kid, like, being in the shower, how we sing in the shower, I remember that I would freestyle in the shower.
So
But
you
I didn't
did
know
without
that I was freestyling.
putting
I
that
didn't know.
name on it or that title. Yeah.
Yeah. I just knew that I was, and I'd be singing shit, and I would really do it a lot more with like melodies. It wasn't rapping, it was more melodies, like R&B type of melodies. So I could hear these R&B melodies and I would just stick words, and a lot of times the words didn't make sense at all, but they rhymed and they went with the melody. So I was like, man, this would really sound pretty cool. I think if I could really make it sound the way it's supposed to, like do it right. but I never really, I was a kid. I never really thought about it like that. So it kind of started that way, which coming full circle, if you ever see me in the studio now, I'll go into the booth and I'll just be like, play the music. And then I'll just start mumbling some shit, but it has a melody. And they'll record that, and then I'll go back, listen to that, and I'll write the words to the melody that I mumbled on the mic with a bunch of gibberish and words that didn't make sense.
Right. You just edit out the filler parts and you're like, ooh, I liked that line. Let's take that one.
Not,
and then
not even really that. It's more of it's just to capture the idea, capture the essence on the record. And then once I do that, I literally will craft the words, bar for bar for bar until the whole verse is done. It's actually a process. Some people go in there and they just do it off the top. Some people go in there and they write. Some people take forever to write. Some people are fast at writing. I'm more of a fast writer because I go in there, I hear a melody, and then I'll lay the melody down, and then it's really quick to write the words. Once the melody's there, because that's what's going to give you the feel. Once you got that, writing the words just comes simple to me. So I kind of started with the freestyle element, but I wasn't making sense. I remember the first time I tried to write a verse, though, it was horrible. So
you tried. So we got to give you credit on that.
That's why I say it's a learned behavior, because the more you write, the better I got, and eventually I got, to where, what I do today. But it started, it's been an actual process, finding my voice, finding my style, finding everything. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey.
And I would say for that, speaking of, your style, I've listened to your songs and you have a really diverse sound, which is nice. I mean, I listened to California Dreamin' earlier, and then my Instagram reel that I know you saw, but Narco Traficante, they have very different sounds, and it's nice that you're able to speak English, sing, rap English and Spanish on there. So not only having the diversity in languages, but even just in sounds. And I think that's the most beautiful part, because you're starting, like you said, with the melody, because you could have an amazing song written out, but if you don't have that sound that matches it, that song, those lyrics are going nowhere.
Exactly.
So the singing or rapping portion, I mean, we were talking briefly off camera about the production side of it. You have music videos, so there's the visual aspect of it and how you want to direct those. So there's so much more into going into the booth and just recording your sound and then walking out and washing your hands and say, this is it, I'm done. You really have your hands on everything, which again proves to be that you're an artist and setting the tone of how you want to be an artist, which is incredible.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, I'm very hands-on with everything I do. I mean, that goes across the board, not just in the creative process, but when it comes down to, the marketing and the promoting and how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that? I literally have my hands in everything. And sometimes it scares me, because the bigger you get, the more people you need to help you. And the more people you need to help you, the more control you're actually relinquishing. So I don't want to say I'm a control freak. I just feel like I know what I want, and I can give myself what I want. And sometimes it's really hard for others to see my vision or see what I want. And, finding people to actually trust with that vision is what's important to me. So right now, the team, the guys that we have, I have two amazing producers. Ace One. He is a Grammy Award-winning platinum producer. Played keyboards for Frankie J on tour. Amazing producer. This guy, and the most down-to-earth, the most humble guy I know. And this guy just gives me what I want every time. Every time. I have another guy, George Eyes. He's a guitar player. He plays with he does a lot of work with the Club Jumpers, who are, multi-platinum Billboard charting producers who do a lot of the remixes for Britney Spears and Jason Derulo. And, his name is on a lot of these plaques. So, he's a great friend of mine, and he's jumped on board here recently. And now, whatever I need, he's got my back. And these are people that I actually trust with my vision. I could go in and be like, look, guys, I kind of got this idea like this. And then they'll go to work and they just always blow me away. So that's what's important to me, finding that. And that's very challenging. It's very challenging to find that. So to anybody out there that's doing this, when you do find that, nurture those relationships and take care of them.
Absolutely. And I think it's also nice to be able to have your voice to express if you don't like it, if they're not bringing your vision to life, to have that comfortability in your relationship to say, hey guys, this is actually not 100% like what I pictured it to be. Let's edit it that way. And I think that that's where the control freak, not that you are, but you know what you want out of it. So you're like, I have to, speak up and say, no, this is how I need it to be executed in order for it to be like a grand slam. But like with that being said, so the producers are, local in that area. Do you find yourself like being able to have your team all in San Antonio, or do you have to travel, or do they come in to see you? Like what's kind of like the talent pool in terms of like, San Diego, why did I just say that? San Antonio vibes. Because like Boston, it's like you don't really have a ton of connections,
Right,
and
right.
San Antonio is not like where you picture on the map of like a New York or LA and Atlanta where you just have a bunch
Absolutely.
of people, like
Absolutely.
what is it like down there?
So San Antonio this is home. So, my producers, they're both here actually.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
But this is where we feel comfortable. So this is where we all live. This is where we feel comfortable. So this is where we make our music. But once the music is here, we take it everywhere but here. Because as you say, there's not so much going on here either. Now, there's a big Tejano scene here in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Tejano is like huge, huge, huge. This is where it originated. This is where it started, and this is where it's still at. Selena. I don't know if you're familiar with Selena.
Of course I am.
You
Yes.
better say that.
Listen, how old do you think I am, first of all?
It doesn't matter how old you are. You need to know who Selena is.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
Selena, so a lot of Selena's music was recorded here in San Antonio. I've been in the studios where her name is like, I'm like, wow, y'all recorded this here? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, Selena recorded here. They were like, yeah. So uh, it's a really big Tejano market, and especially because of that, Selena made it really big. You see it in the Netflix show where they're in San Antonio at the Tejano Music Awards. They still have those music awards here. So in terms of that, there is a huge scene. Me being a Latino, I get to tap into that. So I've met a lot of these really big Tejano guys and producers and writers and artists themselves. As a matter of fact, a few days ago, we were in the studio and we just made a new song with Savannah B, who happens to be a Tejano artist. And she's won awards, and she's she does a lot of great things. Has a great voice. Me personally, I think her voice would sound better across different genres. And luckily, she's open to she likes different genres as well. So she's open to, hey, whatever you can do with me, let's do it. So we put her on a song here. We put her on two songs actually, um, which was it's funny because she was like, I want something like kind of like this, and then my producer started making it, and it was kind of like with a salsa vibe, and it was real salsa to me, and I was like, that's too much. I was like, nah, we're not gonna do that. That's too much. Let's tone that down a little bit. Let's have elements of it in there, but we're not making a complete salsa song. Like that's not
Right.
what we're doing. So I like to infuse my music. That's what I call it. My music is infused with so many different elements across the board. So you never know what you're gonna get. But we actually came up. It has a salsa vibe to it, but with other different, with a hip hop element. And she did her thing. She did her thing. But once we do our music, yeah, it's we use all the connections. We travel a lot, so we're in LA a lot. We're in San Francisco a lot. We go out to Miami quite a bit. We're about to reach out into Georgia and see what kind of connections we can make out there. So we use that network to really push what we got going on. But Houston is right down the street. Houston is maybe like 3 hours from San Antonio, and Houston is also a really big market. So it's nothing to drive down to Houston a few hours and really tap into the guys out there and take full advantage of what's going on there. So we're lucky to have that at least. To
I
where
also just love the fact that you say that Houston's just down the street by 3 hours because Texas is so huge. You're like, it's just down the street, because if I were to drive 3 hours, I would be in New York City from Boston. I'd be crossing multiple
wow,
state lines. And you're like, oh, yeah, it's just a quick car
wow.
ride. That's just like, so, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah. To us.
You're in the car 11 hours and you're still in Texas, from point A to point B. It blows my mind. And
I think you would be a good actress though, because what I've noticed is, act acting come people have to have a certain kind of attitude, or not so much attitude, but a person's character, the way that they carry themselves. You could kind of see the ones that would be good actors and the ones that won't. As far, or at least I can. And I've seen like some of your videos and stuff, and I think you'd be pretty good actually. I've
thank
seen some
you.
people, yeah, I think you'd be pretty good. The thing is that you're just not comfortable yet. But once you get comfortable, I think you could actually be pretty good. Whereas me, I think I don't know if I'll ever be one of the greats in acting, but I'm definitely striving to be one of the greats in music. And hopefully one day, we can both share that. You could be one of the greats in acting, I'll be one of the greats in music.
I love it. And then I'm going to have your music in my featured film.
Oh, that'd be dope.
And I'll have you on set, whether it's an extra with a non-speaking role or you want to co-star with me, whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. But and my mentor, even last week, we were doing a script read and he's like, Katie, didn't you tell me last year in the beginning of this that your friends were all like, you're destined to do this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hello, here's your fucking script read. Like, yes, you are. But sometimes
Yeah,
you just don't see it in yourself. I'm
absolutely.
like, I'm just a goofball. I mean, you saw my Instagram reel and I'm like, I love Narco Traficante. And how can I like connect with Ricky right now? And I was like, oh, I'm going to make a reel. Oh, I haven't taken Spanish since like one semester in college, because I did it all growing up and now I'm rusty. And I'm like, oh, now I look like an idiot when I speak Spanish. So now I'm going to say, like, this is when you say you're fluent on your resume and you really don't know shit, but it got your attention. So I was
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely. I loved it. I loved it. Me and JT were watching it, and I was like, look at this shit, bro. This is hilarious. And he's like, oh, that shit is hilarious. So yeah, you definitely got my attention. I loved it.
oh my God. I just like sent him like a message, not to make this whole interview about him because it's not, it's about you, but I just sent him something because I posted him on my thing and I was part of his demo reel and he's like, oh, hello. Yeah, I'm a bitch. And I was dying laughing. I saw that, so I posted it. And so we were just talking about all this stuff today, like through DM. And I'm like, dude, you teach me so much. Like, I wouldn't know what pinche pendejo is unless it was for you and like all this stuff. It's like, oh my God. Like, but I was like, it's just like fun to be able to like engage with people and,
Yeah,
because at
totally.
the end of the day, how big or little you are in life, we're all still humans,
I,
So
I
I'm
was
like,
just I was just having this conversation with someone recently. I was like, I'm like, I like to be met eye to eye. I don't like somebody to think they're above me or below me, especially because of their status or because of the money that they have or because the number of zeros in their bank account. I'm like, because to me, true wealth is right here. True wealth comes from your wisdom, true wealth comes from your experiences. And I've acquired enough wealth and wisdom to know that I'm right here with the richest or the poorest,
yep.
So I don't like to be looked at as anything other than an equal, because your money does not matter to me. You could tell somebody could come and take your whole money away tomorrow. Somebody could come and empty out your bank account tomorrow and you could be back to the mud, but nobody could take away what you've acquired up here. Nobody could take away your wisdom. Nobody can take away your experiences. Nobody could take away what you've learned from life. So if you haven't acquired that, it doesn't matter how many zeros are in your bank account. You're not rich. You're not wealthy. Wealth comes to me in wisdom. So that's very, what you just said. There is nobody bigger or smaller. We're all the same.
And I
Absolutely.
will give you that tequila because I mean, right now I only have water, so it's not nearly as cool as having tequila like on here. And I don't drink. Ooh, do you have some right there? Yeah. Is that an autographed bottle too?
It is.
Yes. Okay. That's Solorzano. How do you pronounce it? Because I was
Solorzano, you actually got it right. Yeah.
this little gringo over here. I'm like, oh no. I was like, but no, I don't drink because I have a really sensitive stomach, but tequila's a probiotic. So I don't get sick if I drink it, right? So one of my really good friends, he was a former colleague of mine, and he's now doing life insurance. I actually interviewed him a few weeks ago, and he came over to my house. I'm like, dude, we're gonna have tequila on my show just because it's you. And he's like, oh, the Mexicano's here. Now you have to bring out the tequila. I'm like, yes, we have to like christen my new space. Like I just moved recently. And I'm like, yeah, it's all about tequila. So if I see you in person, I'm getting you a tequila shot. That's it. And after 2, I'm gonna be super drunk, but I will get you at least 2 because you could probably.
Well, the thing is that I don't drink either.
Really? Okay,
Yeah, I
so we'll
don't.
both
So
be
this
under the
bottle,
table
yeah,
after
yeah,
one shot.
yeah. This bottle was actually a gift from JT, and it was autographed and everything. And then one of my buddies came over and he's like, "Hey, let's pop open that tequila." And I was like, "Nah, man, it's it's autographed." And he was like, "Nah, man, fuck that. Open it up." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, open it up." He just opened it up and he started drinking it. So I was like, "Yeah, it don't matter. I'll get some." JT's my brother, you know. I I
You
see
can get it
JT all the time.
autographed at any time. So you're
Yeah,
like, just
yeah.
open it and enjoy it.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, man. Drink it. It's all good.
But I did tell you that I had a little like surprise segment at the end. So
You
I
did.
heard so much about who you are as a person, like on a serious level. So now we're going to mix it up and I want to see the goofy side of you.
All right.
Right. So I have a few would you rather questions that I just wanted to know to get to know you on a deeper level.
Okay.
So are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Perfect. All right. So would you rather swim in a pool full of marshmallows or a pool full of maple syrup?
Ooh. I think I'd do the maple syrup.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like
because you
that.
know, I kind of feel like you could float in it, you know? So it might be pretty kind of float off, you know?
And I'll just throw pancakes in there with you. I'm like, here,
Like just
compliment
dip
it a
it.
little
I'll
bit.
just dip the pancake and just I can imagine, you know how you float on those floaty inflatable things? Those
Yes.
yeah, but you don't need it because it's syrup. So you're probably just gonna float on top of it.
The buoyancy. Yeah, you're just going to be like right
Exactly.
on the surface. Although I feel like the consistency, like it's going to be so thick if you're trying to like, actually swim through it. That's going to be
You might
tough.
die, right?
Probably. Well, yeah, you couldn't
Yeah.
breathe. You'd always have to keep your head out of the water.
Yeah, you probably die in syrup. Yeah, let's not do that. We'll do the marshmallow.
We'll have you float in syrup, but not swim in it. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Okay, this is a total random one. And I Googled these questions because I was like, what do I want to ask, Ricky? But would you rather be born without knees or born without elbows?
Oh, you know what? I think I'd rather be born without elbows because with knees you could run.
Yeah.
You could run from something, but you know your elbows aren't going to always protect you from everything. So if you ain't got knees, yeah, I think I'd go with the knees.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm like, your arm could just always stay out like that, right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
with
cool.
no knees, I don't know. That's a rough one.
That's a tough one. I agree with you on that one. I would definitely be born without elbows. This is a rather odd one. Would you rather have a third nipple or an extra toe?
I think I'd rather have an extra toe because you could hide that.
Yeah, yeah.
The third nipple, as soon as you want to go swimming, it's a wrap. It's there. Hey, I'm here.
As you're swimming in maple syrup,
As you
everybody's
swimming
gonna
in
see
maple
your third
syrup.
nipple.
Exactly. You know, you can't have that.
You're like, I'm self-conscious. You have to just get a tattoo over it or something. But it always.
No, because nipple tattoos really hurt. I have one.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Wait, what's your tattoo?
I have 2 scorpions right here running across my chest, like literally from like right here all the way like down. So
Are those your only tattoos?
no, I actually have on my right arm, on my left arm, on my right arm I have on my upper and lower. On my left I have on my upper, and then on my left leg from my knee down, I have a whole pretty much like a music um a music staff with all the music notes. And then I have the two big, really big scorpions, and then I have a cross on my stomach, and then I have a really big clef note on my side that has my initials.
So which one was the most painful?
I would say the scorpions because it was on my nipple, so I don't want a third nipple tattoo.
You're like, X that one out.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I feel like
definitely.
the rib cage would definitely hurt.
You know what they told me whenever I went in to get that rib cage tattoo, the guy was like, "Man, it's really gonna hurt," but it actually didn't hurt too bad. He had a really light hand, so it didn't hurt too bad. But those scorpions, the one that hurt the most though was definitely the one on my leg. That was very painful. Like I had to stop a few times, and I it's rare that I stop. So yeah,
Yeah. I know.
but
I just
yeah.
got one back in November. I have, well, four tattoos total, but one on each ankle on the inside. And I just got one in November. And I kept, like just jerking. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, just really, we should just like bound my feet like to this
Strap
table
it
right
down.
now. And I was like, I'm sorry. And it's like a small tattoo, but it was just like killing. But the one on my back, like, because that's the biggest one, that hurt. And I'm like, is it because I have so much fat back there? Or is it because like usually when they say bone, it hurts, but I'm like, no, I got fat. This is my love handle. This shit hurts. So it's like, I
I don't
don't
know. I
know.
think everybody's different. They say that, certain areas hurt more, and I'm pretty sure maybe in general, yes, but I think everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some people's chest is gonna hurt more than other people's chest or back or whatever. So because everybody tattoos hurt. That's what I know. They
Yeah.
hurt regardless. So I don't care where you're getting, they hurt.
Yes. Just the needle all the time. No, it totally hurts. Okay. Sorry for like the total tangent, but I have one last one, probably the most disgusting one, but
Oh, go
inquiring
ahead.
minds must know.
Let's do it.
All right. Would you rather walk barefoot in poison ivy or in a public bathroom?
Ooh, I think I'd rather walk barefoot on poison ivy. Yeah, a public bathroom. No, I'm not walking barefoot through a public bathroom. Yeah, that's
Stuff
not happening.
disgusting.
Sometimes I don't even want to walk with my shoes on in a public bathroom. So
Yeah. You're like, do you have a hose out here? Can I like, clean these up a little bit? That
yeah,
bathroom was disgusting.
need a
Yeah.
pressure washer in here or something, please. Some
Yeah.
bleach.
Especially if it's like a gas station one. I mean, I bet like in all of your travels, you have seen some pretty gnarly gas station bathrooms. Ugh.
Yes, I have actually. I have. I try to forget those bathrooms sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you being a guy, you have the option if you want to just go outside, you could. I don't really have that.
I mean, that's the perception, but you got to keep in mind, you go in the bathroom outside and a cop pulls up on you. What do you think's going to happen?
You're a sex offender now.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
no, please, guys, do not go outside if you don't have to, because you don't want to be a sex offender over taking a piss outside.
Exactly. You're like, nature was calling and I had to answer, but now I'm on a registry.
But in retrospect, if a girl decides she wants to pop a squat on a drunk night from the club, everybody's cool with that.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know. It's a double standard.
It is. I think we should fight to like, make it like
I mean,
equal. We're gonna
if it's
have
gonna be equal rights, it's got to be equal rights across the board,
that's so
But
true.
hey, that's for another discussion. We'll leave that
I'm gonna have
alone.
to have you back on and we'll talk about social issues.
Yeah, yeah, I got some opinions.
Oh my God, I love it. So, anything that you have like current that you want to promote right now, or anything that's upcoming that you want to tell everybody? Because I feel like I've been talking your ear off and I'm so happy to like get to know you. But you're
Likewise.
probably like, hi, it's dinner time. I want to go eat now. So
No. Like I said, I enjoy conversation. That's one of the best things. You can learn so much from someone. You never know what they're gonna give you. Um, I'm actually right now we're promoting the Narcotraficante video. It's still circulating. It's doing pretty well, on YouTube and on the streaming platforms. So you guys go follow on Spotify. Go check it out on iTunes. Go check it out on YouTube. But for the most part, we're just gonna we're gearing up to release. For everybody that's tuning in that wants to check out new music consistently, it's gonna be coming out on my YouTube. So we're trying to build up the YouTube channel. So we're gonna be dropping something new every week to 2 weeks.
awesome.
So yeah, so it might not always be music videos, but I'm actually gearing up to do this little podcast where we're gonna do a behind the music, and I'm actually gonna sit down and we're gonna pick a song that it's already released, and I'm gonna talk about the creation process and kind of the story behind it, because there's always really good stories of how the songs got developed and how they came to be. It's never just, oh, I just wrote a song, or at least not for me. So, we're going to start doing that, picking up, some of these songs and really, kind of dissecting them a little bit and giving the people a behind the curtain peek at some of the creative process. And so that's about to come up real soon. And I'm also going to be releasing new music consistently on the YouTube channel. So you guys go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ricky Versetti, and rickyversetti.com. That pretty much you can find everything you need right there. It's got all the links to all my social medias. And yeah, just stay tuned. We got a lot of new music. Right now we have Narcotraficante and California Dreamin' circulating. So yeah, you guys go check that out.
All right. Yes, I was right. You can admit it. Ricky is amazing. And please make sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to him. As he mentioned, he actually has a ton of content that he's going to be uploading soon to his YouTube page. So I want you guys to be able to check it out. Make sure you follow him on Instagram so you can follow his journey. And maybe we will see him on the screen sooner rather than later. So stay tuned to that. But enjoy the beautiful day wherever you are in this world. And I will see you next week.